What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Hardwood Convos podcast here on the 515 Podcast Network. I'm Brock Bierman alongside, as always, Hunter Rose and Dawson Livingston here to talk some NBA hoops here for about 30, maybe. We might go an hour depending on how these conversations go. But we were recording here on a Wednesday night immediately following an unbelievable Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals between the Pacers and the New York Knicks. The Pacers able to come back with the help of Aaron Nesmith, Andrew Nembhard, and Tyrese Haliburton, come out with the victory in New York, 138-135. And as you can tell by the reactions of two of the members on this show, not many people, or some people, are not happy about the result. Dawson and Hunter, any early thoughts? How are you guys doing, first of all? And then, how are you feeling after Game 1?
All I know is pain. That's all I know.
Were you seeing ghost PTSD there?
Yeah. Hunter's going to touch on it when he gets to his rant, but Indiana can't keep getting away with this. This is ridiculous.
Levels of devil magic have not been seen before. This is insane. I can't do this, man. I can't. All I can do at this point is smile and laugh because nothing changes ever.
Hunter, I know you're struggling. Can you double check that your mic is, your mic output is set to your mic? It sounds like it was just your computer screen or something like that. I could be wrong though. It's on your StreamYard settings. I could be wrong though. It didn't sound as clear as you have in the past, but if we're good to go, then it might be my end, honestly. Okay, perfect. But yes, Hunter has made it clear that he is not necessarily excited about the result from this Game 1 between the Pacers and Knicks. Dawson isn't either. This is kind of a 180 completely from Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, where, it was competitive at the beginning for sure, but it didn't last long. It turned out to be a 114, 86, 88 victory for the Oklahoma City Thunder in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And the next day, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander officially gets announced as the 2024-2025 league MVP. Do you guys want to touch on the game first, or do you guys want to talk about specifically Shai getting his MVP nod? I'm good with whatever. I again, with this being the conference finals, I don't know if there's too much really to touch on, because Hunter and I talked a little bit about the remaining games from the semifinals last week, and we kind of accepted that both series were pretty much over. So nothing really to recap on that. But what did you guys think of between the Oklahoma City Thunder and actually, no, we'll get to the Oklahoma City Thunder game because, if we're going to start off the show by talking about 5 seconds of the Pacers-Knicks game, we might as well just keep talking more about it and what led to this situation that we are in, and the Pacers being up 1-0. It seemed like
I don't think we have to talk about it. I don't think we do. I think
the East does not exist.
We can move on.
The only series I know is Thunder Timberwolves.
Thunder Timberwolves the finals. Yeah. But no, it seemed like New York was having having their way for the most part with Indiana. They led pretty much they led the entire second half, except for ties. I don't think Indiana ever did lead in that second half. I think their first lead since the second quarter was in overtime. What, in your guys' opinion, what happened? Was it more of Indiana just being able to pull off the unbelievable, which that's an easy statement to make, especially when you got Aaron Nesmith scoring 30 points and going 8 of 9 from 3-point range. A career high, I think I saw, is career high in any game, no matter playoff, whatever it may be, career high for him in threes made. But also, the Knicks are in a situation that they haven't necessarily been known to do with this specific team this season. it's a total New York move in terms of them blowing a game because I feel like the Knicks have a history of doing that. But this team hasn't really had that happen to them, at least in this playoffs, that I remember that has been this dramatic. So is it more Indiana being able to do the unthinkable again, or is it New York dropping the ball and not being able to win and pull out game one?
Why did we have to do this series, dude? I really don't want to talk about this one, but if you're gonna ask for my honest opinion, I think it's more Indiana coming back. Like I mentioned before we started recording, it was 6 minutes ago or 6.5 minutes ago. New York was up 111-94. This game was over pretty much. Pacers looked kind of defeated. New York felt like they were in control the entire time. And then slowly but surely, they just started chipping away. Neesmith had 20 points from the 4.5 minute mark to the end of regulation on just 6 threes and then I think 2 free throws at the very end. Yeah, Haliburton was great. That last shot reminded me so much of the Kawhi shot against the Sixers, 6 years ago now, where it goes straight up. It's like, no way that's going in, and then drops straight through. But yeah, this was kind of a collective effort for the Pacers. Like Brock said, Nembhard played really well. Neesmith was probably the best player on the court. Siakam had an okay game, but it was just a great group effort for the Pacers.
I don't know what it is with basketball teams, just like seeing that stupid letter P and then just forgetting how the game of basketball works. Because why in the world is Mitchell Robinson on the basketball floor if he's not going to get a free throw? Or not he never makes free throws. If he's not going to get a rebound, and then you got OG at the end of the game, just misses like I know this is Rich coming from a Bucks fan and 10-second free throw man, but my GOAT delivers from the free throw line when it matters most, okay? And this guy gets to the line, had to make he just had to make one more free throw. He just had to go 2 for 2 on his home floor, and he misses the first one. Like, if you're gonna miss the second one if you're gonna miss one, my guy. But no, let's as the New York Knicks and as any other team in the basketball league, let's just forget how professional basketball works. Where we go against this stupid team, so then all we're gonna hear about is how good they're not good. You can't fool me. They could win the finals. They're not good. I'm not doing this. That locker room though needs to be investigated. There's something going on. I guarantee it. Devil magic.
Voodoo magic.
Has to be.
Dawson, you do not get a comment on voodoo magic. Yeah, you turn that hat around.
I don't understand, man. Like, yeah. And of course too, like at the end of the day, it's like, get Brunson and get Cat their help, but like that overtime was just grueling. Like, there's just moments where it's just like, what are we doing?
So, let me first say this. I think that New York has one of the most, if not the most talented starting lineups in the entire league. If you look at just pure raw talent and ability of what they were able to put together in that first starting five. But I have you can't, and this is why, that they probably play them 40-ish minutes a game. You can't rely on their bench really at all, except for maybe Mitchell Robinson getting you a couple rebounds. Miles McBride every once in a while has stepped up in this playoff specifically. And I mean, you got Cameron Payne, but it's Cameron Payne. But so, like, on paper, I feel like this starting lineup should destroy Indiana, should destroy a lot of teams. But obviously that backup role, the role players off the bench don't contribute as much. So that's probably why. And then fatigue comes into play. Hunter, you mentioned that, like, Indiana could end up winning this and you wouldn't consider them being a good team. What about them has you not sold on them at this point in this season?
Tyrese is not a superstar. I don't care. I don't care how this game ended. He's not. He's not. All right. He finally had his signature game. Good for you, man. But he's not. He's just not. And the rest, like, just the fact, like, overall, like, the first two players that come to mind are Nesmith and Nemhard. Like, from the regular season to the postseason are two, well, technically four in this case, entirely different players. Like it is insane how much better they just become out of nowhere. I don't get it. I know the word, playoff dropper and playoff riser gets thrown around a lot, but like there's just no, I don't know how you make sense of it. And yeah, when you also can't convince me Spinny P is good at basketball either. I don't care. Like it's just a bunch. This team is just full of people that I'm like, I would watch at the rec and be like, there's no way. Like, sure, they're NBA players. Like, of course, some 6'8" dude walks in and be like, oh man, that guy's really good at basketball. But like, no.
Could it be Rick Carlisle then? Because I've always said that Rick Carlisle is probably one of the most underappreciated coaches in the NBA. But coaches aren't necessarily like, in general, aren't as looked at as these super huge, impactful people on championship rosters.
I think a lot of it probably just at the end of the day, like it really is just roster construction, where it's like, when let's see, I don't even know what to compare this to, but like, I feel like when we get to the playoffs, it's all about, who's the best player in the world. They're going to have the best odds. I think the Pacers probably just show like when you have a team that's able to mesh well really together, because there's no like, sure, like there's weak links, probably there's like a worst player in their lineup. Obviously, every lineup's going to have one, but it's like their whole roster like complements each other, which is why it's so annoying. Is because when somebody subs in, like when Nikola Jokic comes into a basketball game and DeAndre Jordan leaves, the pace of the game is going to change dramatically. When Giannis checks in and Bobby Portis checks out, the pace of the basketball game is going to change dramatically. But that, like, I genuinely don't think that happens when anything happens with the Pacers, and it's just a constant, just like down your throat basketball style of like, we are going to run and run and run and run, and you will not keep up because you will have to sub and change the pace of your basketball game, but we can continue to play at the level that we're playing at consistently. And then especially when you have absolute, just the weirdest legacy games from random people left and right, like there's no way to keep it in check.
Yeah, I mean, they've had some really good performances, especially tonight from a lot of supporting cast members. I feel like one that shouldn't go without being recognized is Obi Toppin having 8 points and 10 rebounds, 1 rebound and 2 points being absolutely crucial in this victory off of that missed three from Tyrese Haliburton, put back dunk for Toppin. And I mean, TJ McConnell has been that guy. He's one of those guys that you hate to play against just because you're like, why is this guy playing in the NBA? And then he frustrates some players depending on who he's playing because of just, the annoying skill set or the annoying play style that he has. I can see why you don't think they're as good to be a championship team, but I do think that they're like you said, they're a well-constructed team that in this era of the NBA, which Hunter and I discussed last week about how people say the NBA is so predictable, but yet here we are again going to have our 7th straight year of a different champion not being the same team in that 7-year span. You don't need to be this elite team with a superstar anymore. Hunter, would you say that Tyrese, I will agree, is not necessarily a superstar, but would you say he is a star of the league, or would you just say he's a good player?
Neither.
No All comment. Right. Dawson, what are your thoughts on this Pacers roster construction? Because I it's one of those where it's like again, like nothing stands out as elite, but like but teams keep struggling against this Pacers squad.
I think the reason why Indiana's so good is the reason why the Thunder are also so good is their bench. For most teams, the bench drop off is huge.
Yeah,
Like New York's bench drop off.
it's terrible.
When like Campaign checks in the game, it's like, oh, we got to watch Campaign play basketball for 5 minutes right here. And Campaign, he'll sometimes play well. Like what game 1 of the Pistons series, he played well and was kind of a hero that game. But then there's times where Campaign
Is Campaign.
he's just Campaign. Where the Pacers, I don't feel like the talent discrepancy between their starters and their bench is that huge. Like, I honestly think you could sub in you could put Mathurin in the starting lineup, McConnell, Toppin, even Ben Shepherd, who had one of the better plus minuses in this game because he was able to play defense for him down the stretch. Whereas like New York, it's like if those starting 5, if they're not out there, it's like, oh man, your minutes are, you're gonna have to struggle through them until those guys get back out there. Even Brunson, as great as Brunson was with 43 points tonight, had a negative plus minus down the stretch. The only positive plus starter for the Knicks was Karl Towns. So I just think the reason the Pacers are good is they're able to go 9-10 players off their bench, whereas New York is like 2 at most, and some nights it's just 1. It's just Deuce McBride. So
Yeah. You mentioned Jalen Brunson. Yeah, he had 43 points, 5 assists, but you also mentioned -8 in the plus minus category.
7 turnovers too.
7, and I was going to mention those 7 turnovers. I think 2 or 3 of them were in that overtime session. And for being the clutch player of the year, he kind of disappeared. I don't want to say he did, because he did have some good plays down the stretch anyways in overtime. But like there was a couple plays where his like ball handling just seemed to be a little out of whack compared to what we may have been used to. Is that cause for concerns for you guys? Like, do you think it's anything to worry about? Is it fatigue, or is it just, we're so used to these amazing post game, amazing postseason battles with Jalen Brunson involved in the clutch situation where he just time after time has been able to capitalize on it. And then this is just that outlier where it's like, you can't always be 100%.
The one thing I'll say first is the reason why I was never a huge believer in the Knicks team and why I thought they were going to lose to Boston. Actually, I picked the Pistons over in round 1, so that shows you how much faith I had in him. But I just don't trust Tibbs as a coach. I think I think it showed tonight that like all of his starters were gassed by the end. I mean, Bridges played 46 minutes. OG played 42, Cat 39, Jalen 38. Jalen would have played more, but he was in foul trouble pretty much that entire fourth quarter. Josh Hart had to play 44. It's just, I never could really get behind this Knicks team because of Coach Tibbs, but I do think it's a one-off with Brunson because Brunson has been unbelievable in the clutch. But yeah, the 7 turnovers, that's something that he and the Knicks have to clean up because they had 15 as a team compared to Indiana's 7. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're honestly the other big thing too is just like their 3-point shooting just was not there. Like Cat's gonna get his more times than not. Like even JB himself, 1 for 6, OG 2 for 8, and then that those are really their main guys that shot it. And so when you're not really able to get anybody to shoot fairly well, like granted, like Jalen Brunson is impeccable at being able to get to the line, whether it's ethical or unethical in the way of playing basketball. He's able to do it.
LeBron.
Like he's he'll get his from there at least. But it's like especially when like if your only guy out there who's going to be able to shoot well for a game is Cat, like your offense is going to be so predictable. And for the Knicks, I would argue it already is very predictable, and that does not help out. And so when you have all this pressure then coming on Brunson, like, hey, get to the line. It's like when you're what's he 6'2", maybe 6'2", 6'1". There's no way you're gonna be able to hold on to the ball for 5 minutes a game.
Unless you go like this every couple seconds.
There was one I thought was funny. I think he like got, I think it was Neesmith's arm and like managed, do his thing, and then he ended up hitting himself like with Neesmith's arm by accident.
Can he get called for his own foul?
Yeah, no, they called it.
That's what James Harden used to do all the time. He'd grab the defender's arm and flail with it too to grab the.
But don't worry, SGA is the only foul merchant in the NBA.
Amen. This guy knows
But
ball.
That's just one topic at a time. We'll
Sorry,
get to that.
He
Sorry.
knows ball.
But I was getting ready for this show towards the end of the regulation of this game, and I was going to say that, and I still truly do believe it. And from the perspective of the roster construction and the success of these teams, New York and Minnesota trading Cat and Julius Randle respectively, and also DiVincenzo, other players and everything, may have been one of the most even returns for both teams in terms of just how they're able to play basketball now, because I feel like New York now has a legit big guy that can stretch the floor. Julius Randle obviously is considered a stretch four. But I now do, even though I didn't believe it at first, do believe that Julius Randle is better on the Timberwolves because he can play that stretch four, which helps Minnesota, who has, a traditional big man down low at their 5 position. So I was getting ready to talk about that, and I still believe that Karl-Anthony Towns is a great asset for this New York team versus Julius Randle in terms of how this team can work. But yeah, he hit 35 points, 12 rebounds. Would you guys say he's one of, if not potentially the best big guy, shooting big guy the league has ever seen? I know right now I would probably put him towards the top for sure. I think someone I know proposed that idea. Is he one of, if not the greatest big guys shooting wise? Because, instantly I think of Dirk, but I haven't looked at his stats to compare the two. And I immediately think of that, Cat has competed and I think has won a 3-point contest, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on Cat's performance and overall just his impact that he's had on New York.
I would say right now, I would probably say he's probably the best shooting big man of all time. But Dirk, I think, also paved the way for guys like Cat to succeed. Because now we're even seeing a guy like Miles Turner, who came into the league, wasn't really a shooter, and now he's jacking up threes all the time. And he's shooting a pretty good clip from him. But no, Cat, his ability to stretch the floor makes this Knicks offense so dangerous. But he's what did he start? 4 for 4 from 3? Or 3 for 3? He started perfect. And then just didn't really find his 3-pointer shot in the second half. And he even had that one, was it at the end of overtime?
Yeah.
Right atop the key when Nemhard's closing out. And you could tell his legs were tired. He was a couple feet behind the line and he hit the front rim and you knew that wasn't going in. But no, I think Towns has had a really good impact for the Knicks this year.
Yeah, so StatMuse. Now I'm a little confused what they mean by big man, because then on this list they have Kyle Kuzma listed as big man, but it says Dirk has the most 3-pointers made as a big man. However, in terms of we'll call it top 9 because said basketball player is in top 10. Karl-Anthony Towns has the best percentage from deep by a pretty solid margin. I think even Cat himself even brought up the idea of oh yeah, I'm probably the best, which is, again, that's probably not something sure, we're seeing the league kind of shift more to being a shooting league more and more and more. So that could change even in the next, who knows, 5-10 years.
Yeah.
But especially as of right now, that would not shock me. But
it's one of those where it's it's quiet kind of, because no one everybody knows he can shoot threes, but no one's oh, this guy is elite. I think obviously people who watch the NBA more closely know that he can do this, but
Yeah.
the casual eye, I feel like nobody really knows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think that's where I think that definitely would be. I would probably have to agree with that. Just like quality wise, he's probably one of the best, but I'd have to sleep on it a bit more. And I think honestly, when I think of Dirk, like it's not that I don't think of 3-point shots, because obviously, like
I think that
just
mid
shoot.
range.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna
always
say
see,
his
like, a
turnaround
big-
mid range,
Mhm.
but
yeah.
And so, I mean, just kind of to recap it, Indiana had unbelievable games from, Nembhard, Tyrese, Neesmith. I mean, pretty much their entire starting lineup played fairly well. And then, the supporting cast off the bench, Obi Toppin played pretty well. TJ McConnell, Matherin, helping Indiana getting another late comeback victory in overtime against the New York Knicks in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, 138-135. What is one thing that you guys, like, just quickly, that you guys think New York needs to do in adjustments for game 2? I'm pretty sure, I mean, you could pretty much just say don't blow a lead like that in the clutch situations. But, New York has also come back from so many of those, so it's kind of easier said than done at this point. So what is one thing that you guys think New York might need to do to adjust for game 2? Also, maybe even Indiana, because they did have to come back from a decent deficit.
I think for New York, their wings have to play better. What like OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, they didn't have like terrible games, but it doesn't help when OG goes 6 of 15 from the floor, 2 from 3, like Hunter said, and then Mikal going 8 for 16, which is good shooting percentage, but it didn't really feel like, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, that he had a huge impact on the game. Because you got to help the burden of from between Brunson and Towns, because Brunson and Towns combined for 78 of the 135 points. You got to take the burden off of them, because that's the only chance you'll have. I think why New York was successful last series against Boston is because they were able to like get other guys involved. They were able to get Mikal and OG, even like Mitchell Robinson more involved. It just felt way too much Towns and Brunson centric. For Indiana, I mean, look, they're I'm not going to critique them too much because they were able to pull off a 17-point comeback with 5 minutes or 6 minutes to go. But it did kind of feel like their offense got stagnant in that fourth quarter, which is why they were slowly but surely falling back to that deficit. But they were able to play some tight defense and have an Aaron Neesmith legacy game to bring him back. So, yeah, if you're Indiana, I would just limit the stagnant possessions that you have in the fourth quarter.
I don't know. I think New York probably needs to set up some sort of way to know what's happening in that locker room so they can prevent it. But no, I don't know. Like, dude, if you have, sure, like at the end of the day, like they definitely won on the glass, but like if you have Towns and Robinson on your team, there's no reason you should be giving up clutch offensive rebounds. There's no reason for that whatsoever. It's like I get so annoyed watching the NBA sometimes because I think back to high school and having to do nothing but run stupid box out drills over and over and over again. And then to watch players who make millions upon millions of dollars just send that drill into shreds in a basketball game makes me so angry because I suffered for nothing and you get away with this.
I mean, heck, Hunter, one of our rebounding drills was called NBA, no babies allowed.
It was so stupid. But yeah, I think, again, that's the big one. And that's a hard, because again, like they won the rebounding battle. Mitch did his thing. Josh Hart did his thing. He's always going to crash. Like, that guy's going to crash the glass regardless. But like, you can't be giving up easy ones like that. Like, especially when you have the lead. Like, you don't got to worry about getting transition. Just have 4 dudes just crash the glass even. Like, it doesn't matter. Just get the ball. For the Pacers, I don't comment because I want them to lose.
Fair enough. So Indiana takes game 1 here. We're recording literally immediately following that 138-135 victory for Indiana in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, one step closer to a finals appearance for the Pacers if they can continue that. But, New York isn't going to go away without a fight. They have proven that time after time this season with this roster. Let's switch over to the Western Conference Finals, where on Tuesday night, the Oklahoma City Thunder were able to come out with a big time victory in terms of the score. 114-88 was the final score. Oklahoma City defeats Minnesota in Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. And what a second half, to say the least, from the number 1 overall seed in the NBA playoffs, the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was it was less than 10-point differential heading into the half. Heck, Minnesota, I think, was up at halftime, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Didn't even matter. Oklahoma City follows that up. They follow up a first half of a first quarter total score of 20 and a second quarter total score of 24, with a 32-point third quarter and a 38-point fourth quarter. What did you guys both get the chance to watch the game, or at least see some of the highlights? What changed? I know that, we watched the game. Anthony Edwards tweaked his ankle. The fact that he was able to come back in is honestly amazing, because I know what it's like to tweak your ankle like that, and it is not easy to come back to. So what happened in this game? Because Minnesota was playing pretty well in the first half. I thought it was going to be a heavily defensive battle between these two teams, and I think Minnesota thought that too, with only putting up 88 total points. So what were your guys' thoughts on this Game 1?
Stinky basketball. It was gross. But yeah, when we get to playoff basketball, if you ever miss out on a game, or maybe you don't know about the NBA all that much, there's a really easy trick you can do. All right, just to figure out who you should watch. There's this cool thing called the box score, and when you go at it, you look at the field goals attempted. Now, if you were to look at Oklahoma City, you would see, this Shai Gilgeous-Alexander guy shot the ball a ton. Surely he's their best player. And you would be correct. He is their best player. And then you would see, second is this Jalen Williams guy. Not to be confused with Jalen Williams, who did not play. But Jalen Williams, who shot the ball 18 times, he must be their second best player. And you would probably be correct depending on who you're talking to. But
you're talking about Jalen Williams or Jalen Williams?
We're talking about Jalen Williams.
Okay.
Not to be confused with Jalen Williams.
Okay. I want to make sure.
Now, if you were to go over to the Timberwolves, you would see, that's kind of weird. There's so many people that shot the ball so many times. And one of them who shot it the most only made it 3 times the whole game. Whoa. That's crazy. So all that to say, Hunter thinks that the Timberwolves need to stop playing all the, just get, if we want to call Anthony Edwards the next Michael Jordan, we got to give him the ball. You got to let him shoot. And I think even he commented on it. I think he got fined for commenting on it too, because he threw some special words in there. You cannot be shooting the ball 13 times as your best player. Again, tweaked his ankle. Obviously, he's not going to be shooting the ball as much after the fact, probably. And just for the whole game, that's going to affect your numbers. But even Julius Randle was in his bag, and he only shot the ball 13 times. But when you got Dante, Nikhil, and Naz Reid putting up a whopping 7 for 400 from the field, basically. You're not winning the basketball game with that. I'm sorry. You didn't get into the playoffs because, again, they're great. I love Big Ragu. He used to be on the Bucks. Got a special place in my heart. We all know Naz Reid is the epitome of basketball as we know, Mr. Big Jelly. They're not the reason why they got into the playoffs, though. They're not the reason they're in this position either. It's Anthony Edwards. And Buddy needs to be shooting that thing. He needs to be attack mode. He needs to be in it. And especially if you're going to be dueling the now MVP, you can't be taking backseat. You can't be taking second fiddle to somebody else, even if it is Julius Randle on your team. If he's feeling it, sure, you got a guy you can dish to when you drive. But yeah, this ain't college ball. You got to play a little bit of hero ball now.
If you start at the top of the box score and you see Julius Randle had 28 points, 8 rebounds, and went 5 of 6 from 3, you'd automatically assume the Timberwolves won this first game. And then you keep going down, and you're like, okay, McDaniels 7 points, Gobert with 2, didn't play a ton of minutes. Conley was 7. By the way, the fact that we're talking about Mike Conley playing playoff basketball in 2025 is just kind of weird to me. Anthony Edwards with 18, but you're like, okay, but Julius Randle had 28, 5 of 6 from 3. And then, like you said, then you get to Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And then you're like, that's why they lost. Reid with 1 of 11, DiVincenzo 3 of 14 from the field, Alexander Walker 3 of 11. DiVincenzo, all of his makes were from 3, and he still went 3 of 12 from 3. Naz Reid shot 7 3-pointers, didn't even make 1, and then Alexander Walker went 2 of 9 from 3. So yeah, I completely agree that your bench can't be shooting close to or more than your star player, especially if the media is trying to push this idea that Anthony Edwards is the second coming of Michael Jordan. Dawson, what were your thoughts on this game?
I got a couple of thoughts. 51 is just a number I'm going to throw out there. What do you think that number? Yeah, where do you think that number applies to in this sense?
I know, so I'm not going to answer.
Hunter, do you have a guess?
If I were to guess without staring at the number 51, I would assume my immediate response, in my own head, would be a field goal percentage. That would be my guess. But
see, if you were talking the Thunder, you'd be correct with their field goal percentage at 52% from 3. No, but I'm talking about 3-pointers attempted from Minnesota, and they made 15, which that's pretty bad, but that's 15 threes. What if I told you in 30 less attempts, Oklahoma City only made 4 less threes and shot 52.4%? Over half of Minnesota's field goal attempts were from 3. They're trying the Boston Celtics approach, and I
was about to say, as a Celtics fan, I need to sit out on this one.
We are in the day and age where, yes, the 3-pointer is king. You're going to have to hit threes in order to win games. At the same time, as a guy like Anthony Edwards, where his one of his great attributes as a player is his athleticism and be able to dunk it on people, go to the rim. I think this might be wrong, but I saw he had 1 shot attempt at the rim in this.
Was that the dunk attempt? Well, I guess it doesn't count as an attempt. The dunk attempt that got fouled.
I don't think it's that one, but he only really tried twice. Now, granted, some of that was the game plan by Oklahoma City, just saying, hey, you're not going into the paint.
It's also the ankle.
Yeah, he did roll his ankle, so I'll cut him a little slack. But no, they were able to throw Lou Dort on him some of the game, Caruso for some of the game. Yeah, Oklahoma City, while this was a close game, I think it was a 10-point game at the end of the third. Does that sound right? It didn't feel like a 10-point game. It felt like Oklahoma City had totally taken control of this game.
I feel like that's how they play. They've played all year. It's weird.
It's like a fight. I was talking to my dad about this. It's like a fighter that's not a knockout fighter until late in the rounds where it's both fighters are getting exhausted. And Oklahoma City, with that defense, they're able to just take players out of games. And then I have one more number for you guys. The number's 43.8. What do you think that is?
Now that is surely a percentage somewhere.
No, it's not.
Oh my gosh.
43.8. So it's not a field goal percentage because I don't actually know.
Nope. I'll let you have one guess before I tell you the answer.
Like how many like field goals per game or something like that Minnesota makes on average this season? I don't know.
Great guess. Love the guess. Not even close. I was talking about Rudy Gobert's salary. For him to have 2 points
Oh god.
and 3 rebounds
Tough.
in he was just getting cardio in this game.
Uh,
Where's the Rudy Gobert that was dropping 27 and 24?
Tough.
What, 3 weeks ago? And we had to watch Gobert just get absolutely outclassed in this game by Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein. So, yeah, Gobert's almost it's not like you can't play him because he's like valuable in like defensive sets. He was only -2. This is the second best plus minus in the starting lineup, funny enough. But like, he's unplayable at sometimes. Like, he just can't guard on the perimeter as well. But yeah, I still think Minnesota's gonna be fine in the series, but they gotta have to depend on Ant a little bit more, and they don't need Nikhil, DiVincenzo, and Naz Reid to shoot 11 to 12 times. They just don't need that from each of them. So
I completely forgot about that contract.
oh yeah, and I think it goes for 3 more years. 2 more with an option, but spoiler alert, he's gonna take that option.
Oh no way.
Yeah. So
I mean, yeah. So it was. I mean, credit to the Thunder. I mean, I don't know how much more we need to dive into this game. I don't want to like say that this season's like kind of over, but is it safe to say that Oklahoma City's probably going to end up winning the championship this year, or do you guys actually have some sort of hope that someone else might be able to?
No, I have no hope for any other team. I hope any team but one team wins it at this point. So whoever wins this, I'll buy a jersey. I'll do it. I just need them to win.
Okay. So Hunter will be an Oklahoma City Thunder fan here in a couple weeks, and when they face the Pacers in the finals,
I will be cheering my head off for unethical hoops.
Real quick before we kind of wrap this up, this will be a little shorter of an episode. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander does win the MVP. Hey, Giannis got 3rd place, so respect to the people that actually like tried to push him up higher. I would have had him higher, but that's just me.
Dude, he's gotten 3rd place. I gotta look this up. I'm pretty sure he's gotten 3rd place like every single year he hasn't won, basically.
Does that mean Tatum was 3rd the year he won it?
He might have been.
Okay, because I know Tatum got 3rd once.
For sure.
Was Tatum 3rd last? No, not last year.
Oh, maybe it was last year.
2 or 3
Yeah,
years
I think
ago?
you might be right.
I just know
one
that
year.
Tatum got it once. He finished 4th behind Giannis this year, but with this MVP winning season for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he is now eligible for a 5-year extension, but it's not just a 5-year extension. I think it's $380 million contract extension.
Can I say something?
That's ridiculous.
Quick? I don't know if you guys remember this, but was it the summer of 2016 when the cap just like exploded? Like everyone signed huge contracts, like random role players.
Mm-hmm.
What was the joke for the longest time? Was it Mike Conley had the largest contract in NBA history, and everyone was like losing their mind at like, oh man, Mike Conley's making $30 million a year, 160 overall, and now we're having players make double, maybe I don't want to say 3 times. Well, maybe soon, but players making almost $400 million on their contracts. Pure insanity.
So technically, if he wants to, Shai can sign an extension this offseason, but the max would be a 4-year, $293 million extension. If he waits,
$100 million difference. Whew.
If he waits 1 more year, which is still a gamble because things happen in sports. If he waits 1 more year, he can get that $380 million 5-year contract extension with the Thunder, which I mean, I don't think the Thunder plan on moving on from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander anytime soon. Yeah, it's crazy to even think that this is the situation. But he has a chance to do something that hasn't happened since LeBron in Miami, of winning MVP and a title
In the same year.
and Finals MVP, because I don't really think anyone else would win Finals MVP, because Curry never did it.
I think
Durant
you're
never.
right.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think it
you're
might have
right.
been LeBron in Miami was the last time that has happened. So, you guys are LeBron fans. You guys are supposed to know this stuff. I'm not
It
supposed
would
to be the
be.
one that knows.
I think it
Because the
20
only the
13?
closest one would have been probably Jokic, but that was the year Embiid won it.
Oh, that's right.
Because wait, so when did Giannis win it?
Giannis last one in 2019.
Okay, yeah.
2019, 2020, I think.
Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, it's been a while. It's been over 10 years. So we'll see if Shai is going to be able to do that. Where do you guys have him in your top players of, like, just top players, not necessarily like, is he the face of the NBA now?
No.
Did you think I was going somewhere else with that?
I thought you were gonna say just like top 5 players.
I'm not looking for a list, but
Oh,
I still think Giannis is the best player in the league personally.
Giannis or the fat Serbian in Denver. One of those two.
I think that was the funnest thing this whole playoffs. I was watching that Thunder and Nuggets series, and everyone realizing, oh, like Giannis is actually really good at basketball, like all the time,
Mhm.
and these guys suck. That's crazy. And it's like, wow, we've been telling you this for like 4 years now. Like, y'all are way too late.
What'd you think about Mike Malone's comments after Game 1?
That was funny.
Someone is salty.
Do you think that was bitter? A little bitter?
No.
Un poco.
No. That was unbiased.
Well, Hunter, do you have any final thoughts? We always give it up to you for your. No, you have nothing for tonight.
No.
Okay. Dawson,
Bad
any
night.
final thoughts?
All I know is sadness and no more basketball. No more basketball. Finals is over. No more season.
That's interesting coming from an Iowa fan. The WNBA season just started. A lot of controversy already in that league. We're not going to touch with a 10-foot pole.
This is an NBA podcast, not a WNBA podcast.
All right. Well, then, in that case, do you guys like? I know. So we've had the luxury of seeing one game from both conference finals game or series. Do you guys want to give a prediction for how these may go? No?
I don't want to think about it. I don't even want to think about the possibility.
I'll make a quick one. I was thinking New York was going to win the series. I still kind of think New York's going to win the series in 7. Oklahoma City's going to wrap this one up in 5.
Yeah, I said I was going to go in with Thunder in 7 and New York in 7, but I'm still keeping New York. The Thunder one, it might be, and I don't think the Thunder one will be going 7.
Did Dallas beat them in 5 last year? In the Timberwolves in the
5 or
conference?
6, I
I
think.
think so.
I don't know. I just think this series isn't going to be close, and the Thunder are going to probably dog walk whoever comes out of the East. So
If New York loses, I think there's going to be a good chance that Thibodeau is not going to be there next year. But like again, it's one of those where you're playing with fire because
yeah, who's the coach? Who's the
well,
next
not
one?
just that, but like there are so many players on that team that love him, and that's the one thing that sucks about Thibodeau for fans that don't like him is that his players always enjoy playing for him. It's just that the way that he does it is not always the best way to do it. But yeah, so we'll be back next week to continue to talk about these Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals series. Maybe we'll have a couple sweeps to talk about. Maybe we'll have some game 5 through 7s to talk about. Who knows? Maybe we have a complete finals matchup to break down. But whenever we are back, we will be able to break down everything in the last week for you here on the Hardwood Convos podcast. So for Hunter Rose and Dawson Livingston, two struggling fans, knowing that Tyrese Haliburton is still playing basketball. I'm Brock Bierman. We will see you all next week here on the Hardwood Convos podcast.